All right, I think let's have this conversation later. Let me get home. I think it's pretty getting late. I have to be getting home. I'm scared out here. I want to get home. I want to go home. I want to go home. Hi, Paul Simon Mzakazi Piri, your host on this podcast, TIKAMBE with Paul, on the third episode, where we are talking about coming home. Now, you see, coming home, and after sharing the flyer, the poster, I'm just wondering what is it that you've been thinking when we say coming home? Coming home to where? Coming home to what exactly? Now, you see, first of all, I want to ask this question. Or the way I just want to start this is I just want to ask a question is, who are the most three significant people in your life? Who are the most three significant people in your life? And I'm just going to give you a few seconds or maybe some time that you think through who are the most three significant people in your life. Are you able to bring those two? If I'm correct, I'm not reading your mind, but if I am correct, I want to assume that you have mentioned people that are important to you. But if I'm correct, amongst the three people that you have mentioned, no one, or you're going to discover 9 out of 10, no one has mentioned themselves there. You've just picked other people, maybe for example, with all due respect, mom, dad, my siblings, or my wife, husband, boyfriend, fiancé, and so on. But on that list, little do we hear you mentioning yourself. And I'm going to come back to this point later as we progress in this podcast. But now, when we are talking about coming home to yourself, one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is there is somewhere where we belong, all of us. You are not of the street. You are not of the wilderness. You belong somewhere, and that is a home. Now, when I talk of a home, I don't mean of a structure. I don't mean of a beautiful decorative place that you call home. But I'm talking about an environment. I'm talking about something that is innate. I want to talk about something that is special and something that makes you to be you. And that's what definitely begins to make a home to each and every person. Now, the question that usually I ask people, or one of the questions that I share with people is, are we truly home? Or we are roaming in the street? Because sometimes you might think as if you're home, or sometimes you might think as if, okay, I'm sharing a certain space somewhere, but there's a certain aspect where you feel you don't even belong there. So are you home? Or are you on a journey going home? In the Catholic and Orthodox liturgy and devotion, there is a song that we usually sing, we are pilgrims on a journey. So one of the pilgrims on a journey is a pilgrim towards ourselves. And this is something that we should all bear in mind. We are on a pilgrim towards ourselves. And one of the things that you should know is upon journeying on this pilgrim or walking on this pilgrim, one of the things that one definitely need to discover is to discover a home with themselves and a home within themselves. It is pretty sad that we have already advocated people's happiness by trading our own. Now, I know a lot of people will not agree with me here, but what I'm trying to put across here is we have loved other people more than we love ourselves. We have considered other people more than we consider ourselves. We have affirmed other people more than we affirm ourselves. And this is the more reason when people leave us, because this is the truth. People leave. Bantu amaenda. At the end of the day, everyone will go back to their place. Just when you're working at a certain place, when it is knocking off time, everyone will switch their mind of going where? Going home. They're going to leave that place, even though you're having a date or you're having something. At the end of the day, you are going to discover that I need to go home and I need to go and belong where I belong. So this is also the same in our lives. People, when they find their homes, they will leave. They will discover that this is not where I belong. They will discover that this is not the place that I've been pursuing. They are going to tell you that this is this is not a home. I thought that this would be home, so I need to go home where I'm going to feel safe, peaceful, and comfortable. So they are going to leave. So the question is, when these people leave, how do you remain yourself? So the thing is, we have created homes for other people. We have created homes for another person, but we have never created a home enough for ourselves. And that is why in my preamble I started by asking to say, who are the most 3 significant people in your life? You are going to discover that there are other people that are significant to you, but you have never been significant to yourself. And this is something that I always tell people, that don't expect other people to make you significant in their life if you have never been significant to yourself. Don't expect people to make you important if you have never been important to yourself. Don't expect people to be comfortable around you if you are not comfortable with yourself. And it's true, there are certain people that are not comfortable with themselves. There are certain people that are not important to themselves. Even the way they react, the way they treat themselves, you can even see that these people, they don't love themselves enough. And that is why some of us, we end up being traded for abuse. We end up being traded for anything. Why? Because we are not yet familiar with what it means, first of all, to put yourself first. And I'm not talking about being selfish, but I'm looking at first building a home within yourself, something that you are comfortable and something that you can literally bring to the table. Then you are able now to extend yourself to other people. If I'm to quote from the Bible, which says, where Jesus at a certain point, he was saying, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So Jesus, one way or the other, was trying to say, the extension of the love that you have within yourself, you should extend it to your neighbor. If you treat yourself well, you are going to treat other people well. And you see, for a certain reason, I agree to this belief that when people treat you bad, it's not you who is bad. Sometimes they are revealing and manifesting who they are. They are manifesting a certain deficiency that they have within the home of themselves. You're going to discover that certain people begin to bring out a certain negative energy. Then if you're not careful, you're going to blame yourself to think, oh, maybe I'm the one who has caused this. But sometimes it's people's deficiency manifesting because their home is in shambles. You don't expect another person to create a peaceful home for you when you within yourself, a lot of things are in shambles. Maybe perhaps this begins to explain why relationships are crumbling. This begins to explain why we have got a lot of issues in marriages. This is simply because a certain partner comes in very empty, comes in very lost and confused, and they don't even know who they are. They don't even know their purpose. They don't even know the energy they give to the universe. Then they expect the other partner to be the one to feel that. But I think the equation should be different. I think when one is, for example, to get into a relationship or a friendship, or if it is at work or a colleague or anyone, the first thing that we must bring is we should be full in ourselves. And what it means to be full in yourself, it simply means by being home with yourself, being comfortable with yourself, knowing who you are, knowing your purpose, knowing what color are you, knowing the kind of energy you bring, knowing the kind of vibration to what you vibrate to. Now, when you are able to bring that, there's just a certain way to which you are going to attract another home of other people. But the question still remains is, are you home with yourself? Have you made a home with yourself? Do you love yourself enough? Do you affirm yourself enough? Do you love the fact that you're a man? Do you love the fact that you're a woman? Do you love the fact that you're firstborn? Do you love the fact that you're lastborn? Do you love the fact that due to circumstances you are not able to attend tertiary education? Do you love the fact that you're coming from a humble background? Do you love the fact that you're coming from a poor background? For obvious reasons, to those that I've read my book before, the kind of a family where I'm coming from is, I'm a son of a carpenter. May his soul rest in peace. My father was a carpenter. This English you're hearing was birthed out of a carpenter. And that's who he was. He loved what he used to do. He loved making tables and the like. So for me to be at home as Paul, to be able to embrace myself and to believe in myself, one of the things is I have to accept, number one, that my father was one that was a carpenter. And it all begins from there. So you're going to discover that a lot of us, we want to make a difference by first not accepting where we're coming from. Maybe perhaps some of us, we think as if we want to change the narrative, but what is in another way, you are running away from changing the narrative. And I hope you not to be a victim that run away from certain issues instead of really first embracing that situation. So I still come back to this is, how much have you really accepted yourself? Do you accept yourself that you are chubby? I respectively speaking, this way doesn't sound nice. Due to the fact you feel comfortable that you are fat or you are gaining, do you love the fact that you're slim, you're tall, you're dark, you're brown in complexion, and so on and so forth? Do you love the fact that you're Bemba? Do you love the fact that you're African? Do you love the fact that you are not from the southern part of Africa? So it all begins from there. So if you begin to run away from what makes you to be rooted of your identity, then you are running away from being home with yourself, and you're going to roam around in the streets. And that is where in the street you're going to pick any kind of an identity. That is why you pick up any kind of language, you listen to any kind of music, you watch anything as long as it can be watched. You do not have the capacity to sieve and to be able to say, this I cannot do, this I cannot participate in, this I cannot be a part of it. The reason is simple. It's simply because you are not home with yourself. And if you're not home with yourself, people are going to treat you the way they want to treat you, because they know you do not have an option. They know you do not have where to go. So they are going to treat you whatever they want to, because they know you're stranded. But in today's podcast, I want to say that should be put to an end. There's one philosopher who usually says a lot of people, they have sold their authority and power simply because they do not know who they are. And I just want you to imagine, to how many circumstances have you given your authority and power to? How many circumstances have you betrayed yourself simply because you are not home with yourself. And I want to appeal to the Christians or those that follow Christ and God. You see, it is very, very practically difficult to become spiritual or to become a devoted Christian if you do not know who you are. Because one of the things that God would want from you is, first of all, you must know yourself. You must know the color that you have. You must know your character. You must know your weaknesses. You must know your strength. And it all begins from there. I love what Thomas More in his book, Care of the Soul, what he usually says. He says, there are certain things in our soul that will always manifest, and that doesn't make you to feel like you're demonic. But there are certain things that they're going to reveal that they have been a part of you and which are called the shadows of the soul. But most of the times, we usually shun away from that. No, this is not necessary. The most important thing is that you have got God, you have got everything. Yes, you can have God, you can have anointing, but you're going to spoil it. A lot of people have spoiled, have destroyed good charisma in them because they do not know themselves. You begin to manifest a certain gift, you run away from the church, or you begin to think no one can advise you. You even feel like at some point you can even advise God. You even feel as if you are part of the board in heaven, that you can even tell people that this will not happen if you will not follow my direction, and so on and so forth. This is simply because you have received something that you are not even ready for. You are not even at home with yourself. The reason being why some of us, our opportunities are delaying or certain doors are delaying to open. It's not because they are delaying. It's simply because we have not grown to a certain level of being at home with ourselves. We have not grown to accept rejection. We have not grown with the aspect of living in solitude, to be alone. How many of us in here manage to live alone, can manage to live alone and be alone, do certain things alone? Love the alone life. But of course, you agree with me that a lot of things in society have been distorted. When someone says, I'm single, one of the things that are going to come in our lives or to our mind is maybe they're miserable, maybe they're messed up, maybe they don't have market, or and so on. But that is a deception. There are certain times, friends in the Lord, that you might need to go alone, to be alone for you to manifest a certain potential. And that is why you're going to discover that people that have done great things in the history of humanity, there are people that were isolated, first of all, from the community so that they get to know themselves and to check the power that they possess. It is only by realizing the power that you possess that you can do greater things. But sometimes that manifestation will not come when you are in the crowd. That is why some of you, if God wishes or sees it fit, one of the things He's going to destroy your relationship. It's going to break you. It's going to distance you from friends, not because you're a bad person, not because they're bad people, but because God wants to speak to you so that you get to know who you are. So coming home to yourself, one of the fundamental questions that you need to ask yourself is, who are you? So if you do not know who you are, I'm going to tell you, you can have all great potential, you can have influence, you can have power, but you are going to spoil it in the wrong run. I was chatting with a certain friend of mine some time back, where we were interacting and we were laughing, actually. And one of the jokes I crack is, some of us, because we do not know ourselves, we have even missed our soulmates, because we at some point met our soulmates, but because we didn't know ourselves, we destroyed it. We chased them away. Or them, they didn't know that actually I've met my soulmate, but because they did not know themselves, actually, they spoiled it. They destroyed it. Now, they are roaming around in the street checking that, where can I find my partner? Where can I find someone that compliments me? It is all bordered and narrowed back to who you are. And you see, there is just something gracious about how God begins to reveal Himself when we know ourselves. we are going to know God, for example, a little bit blurry, not so much clearly of who God is, because we have missed a certain component. And this is the mistake that some of us usually make. We want to know God, but we do not know ourselves. But sometimes God is merciful. Sometimes He's going to throw the ball back to you to say, first you must know yourself. That's when you can know me. So you must know what you possess. You must know who you carry. You must know what you carry. A lot of you in here, you have really underestimated yourself. You have really undervalued yourself. You have been punching below average. And Wallace, you are not that. Some of you, you carry the mark of a king, but you are behaving like a servant in the palace. Some of you, you are prince and princess, but you behave like subject, like subordinate. No, that should come to an end. You need to come back to yourself. And after this podcast, I just want you to go and sit down and ask yourselves, who am I? What do I carry? What kind of power do I carry? What kind of energy do I carry? Some of you have got very good energy, but because you don't know how to use it, it's just been sitting there dormantly. I just want to imagine that if you are able to stand up for yourself, you are able to rise up and give the best to yourself. I just want to imagine how Zambia would change, how Zimbabwe, how other countries would change. Why? Because there is a certain level to which you have known yourself. There's a certain level to which you are home with yourself. People can leave you, but your life will still continue. People are going to say a lot of things about you, but that will not move you because you have known yourself. You are going to meet certain crises in life. You are going to meet certain challenges in life, but you are not going to be moved. You are not going to be triggered by anything. You're still going to remain yourself. Why are you going to remain yourself? Because you are at home with yourself. So for once, can you stop the notion of wanting to know who people are when you do not know yourself? I often tell people this, that don't wish people to come back to your life if you have not come back to yourself. And I think this is something that I want to emphasize. Do not wish people to come back to your life if you have not come back to yourself. I'm going to assure you this. This is not magic. This is not even some divination or some sort. The day you are going to come back to yourself, the day you are going to get back home to yourself, then that which needs to come back to you is going to come back to you. The reason why certain energies are getting away from you is simply because you are in the street. But hey, you were not called to be in the street. Life is short and life was meant to be enjoyed nowhere else but at home. Where at home? With yourself. You know your purpose. You are busy with your purpose. You are busy with your goals. You are busy with your vision. You are busy working on yourself, being a better version of yourself. You are busy working to become a higher version of yourself, not to prove a point to anyone, but this is what you have been called to be, and this is what you have been called to manifest always and all time. And this is what it means coming home. So I'm inviting you, and I'm inviting you strongly today. Come home. Brother, come home. My sister, come home. Whatever image you have been trying to emulate, today you want to be like this. The internet is bombarding you with this information. No, as a man you have to be this. As a woman you have to be this. As a man you need to have so much money and so much cars for you to attract such kind of women and ABCD. I mean, come on. Do not fall in the temptation of being an alternative person, but rather strive so hard to be an intended person. Now, what do I mean? Because you do not know yourself, you are not home with yourself, you are going to try to be an alternative of something that you are not supposed to be. But always when you wake up in the morning, the thing that you should be is the universe. Oh my God. help me always to be an intended person. The person you intend me to be. The person you intend from the beginning that I should be. That is who you should be, despite amidst the noise that society can give us, that the internet can give. One of the things is, who was I intended to be? Who was I purposed to be in this particular life? Now, let's answer a few questions here of how then do you come at home, or do you become at home with yourself? Number one, it is self-acceptance. It is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance, I'm going to borrow some of the words that the late Dr. Miles Monroe says, that a lot of people are born originals, but 3/4 of the people are buried as photocopies. The fact is, you are born an original person, but along the way, you become a photocopy. You died someone else. You died something different. But the only way you're going to come home with yourself is, number one, you need to accept yourself. And accepting yourself is accepting that I'm a man. It's accepting that I'm male. It's accepting that I'm female. It is accepting that this is my current situation, actually. It is also accepting that I'm broken. It is also accepting that I'm hurt. It's also accepting that I'm traumatized. It's also accepting that I'm an orphan, with all due respect. It's also accepting that I'm divorced. It's also accepting that I'm struggling with certain habits. This is the only way that you're going to become comfortable with yourself, and you're going to become home with yourself. So how much have you accepted yourself? How much have you accepted the color of your skin, the height, your body mechanism, how you look, how slim you are, how fat you are, how huge you are, how tall you are, how short you are? How much have you accepted that? Number two, how do you come home to yourself? It is self-awareness or self-knowledge. A lot of people, we are not aware of ourselves, and one of them is the temperamental issues of ourselves. It is just the opposite of everything. Those that are supposed to be introvert are extrovert. Those that are supposed to be extrovert are introvert. Those that have to be sanguines are becoming pragmatics. It is just the opposite of everything. But one of the things, self-awareness, is you need to know yourself. Who am I? Is answering this most fundamental question every day. Who am I? What kind of personality do I possess? What is it that I know about myself that other people do not know? And what is it that I know and other people know? And what is it that other people know that I do not know about myself? And what is it that I do not know about myself and other people also do not know? And what is it that I know that other people do not know? When we're going to answer the window of that, we're going to be aware of ourselves. Then you're going to serve yourself a lot of things, because it is out of self-awareness that you're going to know and master your strength. Then therefore, you're not going to be something else. You are going to know that, thank you, this for recognizing me for this, but this I cannot do. Me, I am good with writing. I cannot speak. Me, I can speak, but I cannot write. Me, I can lead, but I cannot be behind this. It is self-awareness. So how aware are you with yourself? And number three, you need to love yourself enough. Do not be hard on yourself. A lot of us, society, humanity, human progression is moving at different pace. And a lot of us, there's my mentor one time was sharing with me that major crisis among us the people, it is FOMO. FOMO, F-O-M-O. F-O-M-O. Fear of being left out. So fear of being left out. Now, the thing here is, A lot of us, we are moving with the clock. We are not moving at the manifestation of our destiny. You're looking at yourself. No, I'm 25. By 25, I must have graduated. I must have a child. I must have been married, but nothing is literally happening. So you begin to panic. If you're not even careful, you even begin to become desperate and panicking, that you begin to pick anything, even pick any kind of a job, even pick any kind of a man or woman, simply because you are this kind of desperate. But coming home to yourself, no, you'll be able to know that at the right time, my potential, my time is going to manifest. So I'm not going to force anything. I'm not going to be moved with anything. I'm not going to be moved with what is happening. So you're going to look at your friends. They're having their traditional marriages. They're blessing their marriages in church. They have kids. They have got jobs. And you don't even have a job. You graduated, but you don't even have a job. You begin to panic. I just want to tell you this, that calm down. Peace be with you. Calm down. Continue to work on yourself. Continue to improve on yourself. Continue to be who you are. Do not be hard on yourself. Do not compare yourself with others. Do not compare at the pace to which other people are moving. Just look at yourself, understand yourself, accept yourself, believe in yourself. One day, at the right time, these things are going to find you. This is a secret I'm going to tell you. Do not chase. For once, do not chase. Attract. Learn to attract. Learn to attract. Never chase. Never chase. At all costs, no matter the temptation you might be in, never chase. Always attract. And you're going to attract the best. And that is how you are going to move in that direction. Number 4, you should learn to forgive yourself. Exercise a lot of forgiveness. Forgive yourself. A lot of us, we have been told, forgive what happened to you in the past, forgive what people did to you, and so on. But did you forgive yourself? Have you forgiven yourself? Have you forgiven yourself enough to say, okay, Paul, you messed up here, and it wasn't your fault. Okay, it was your fault. It wasn't your fault. Either ways, either of the situation. But do you take time to forgive yourself? Do you take time to say, okay, Paul, you messed up. It happens. Let's do better next time. How much do you talk to yourself and forgive yourself? And how much do you tell yourself, I'm sorry, Paul, that I made you to be in this kind of a friendship. I made you to be in this kind of a relationship. I made you to be in this kind of a work environment which was quite toxic and exhausting. I'm sorry. So among us, by asking God to forgive us and also asking our friends to forgive us, we should learn to forgive ourselves. So how much do you forgive yourself, and how much do you learn to forgive yourself? This is something that is very important. Learn to forgive yourself. Learn to appreciate yourself so much and so caring. Then number 5, always manifest the greatness in you. Always tell yourself that I want to use verb to be. Don't use past tense, use verb to be. Tell yourself, I am enough. I'm energetic. I attract good things. I am the best. I am unique. I am different. And I'm going to achieve greater things. By telling yourself those affirmations, you are bringing yourself more closer and more closer. And you will not have time to prove a point to anyone. You will not have time to start striving and struggling with other people, because definitely you have found yourself. Learn to find yourself before other people find you. Learn to find yourself before you find other people. That way you're going to save yourself from a lot of pressure. You're going to save yourself from a lot of different circumstances. And this is what God desires for you. And this is one of the purposes that God wants you to discover while you're on this journey here on earth. And even when you're going to go to heaven, the time God is going to give us a reward, is going to say, one of the things you did justice yourself was knowing who you are, was knowing who you're supposed to be. And that's what it means coming home. I'm inviting you, come home. Come back home. Come back home to yourself. Come back home to appreciate yourself. Come back home to appreciate yourself more and more. And I hope you have been blessed. I hope you have been inspired. I hope you have been challenged. I hope you have been invited and reminded once again to come back home to yourself. You have been interacting with me, Paul Simon Mzakazi Piri, your host today on the segment Coming Home as our topic, but on the broader program of our podcast TIKAMBE with Paul. Please leave a comment, leave a reaction, how this episode has been. I hope you have been blessed. I hope you're going to share with others so that they also get blessed, that even they themselves, they are going to try this